Today we're going to check out the Springfield 1911 A1 Range Officer. So let's get started. I'm not going to bore you with the history of the 1911. If you want, you can look up. There's tons of history on it. It's America's sweetheart. It's as American as apple pie. It's been around since, guess what, 1911?
All right, as we dive into this, first off and foremost, this is a Vetter holster, by the way. I can't say enough great things about the company Vetter, so we'll put a link to them. They made this one for me with my with the support of the blue line. The holster is phenomenal, fits like a glove, and of course has retention. I requested these types of belt attachments, but they have a whole variety there. Super high quality. I can't be more happy than with Vetter. Also, as my personal preference, and again, that's all it is a preference. From all the other videos and reviews I've done of holsters, I always told them, or I always said that I like the open bottom holsters rather than being completely closed. So they actually asked me, do you want it to be open? So there it is. I don't have to modify it at all. And again, that's just personal preference. So you can ask them for a suppressor barrel, or just let them know you want the opening at the bottom and they will accommodate you. If you want it closed, they do that too. All right. As you can see here, this is the Springfield 1911 A1 Range Officer. It does not have a box, and that's because I'm not a big unboxer. I've had this gun for quite a while. When you see some of the B-roll, this gun's been beat up pretty well, which is a good thing because I'm telling you from experience of shooting a lot of rounds through this gun. This has been a fantastic gun. So we'll get into some specs about it, but again, that's why there's no box. I don't even know where it is. With this, there is no modifications. This is out of the box. For as long as I've owned this gun, I've not changed anything. So there's nothing unique or special other than unboxing it, and this is really what you're gonna get. So this is the 9mm version, okay? 9mm version. It's going to come with two 9mm magazines. These are 9-round capacities. I will tell you that I bought several more. I found, I believe it was Wilson Combat. I bought some of their extended magazines that worked really well as well. One of the Springfield magazines, and I bought several, one of 6 or whatever, had an issue where the magazine follower, what have you, did not allow the slide to lock open in the last round. And it's that one particular magazine. So the only thing I found in thousands and thousands of rounds and quite a bit of while of ownership is one of the magazines was not perfectly functioned. But that's the only thing I've ever found. As far as reliability from shooting the gun, it's a 1911, so for the price point that it's at, if you maintain it well, you make sure it's well lubricated, it's not a polymer wonder gun, it's not a striker fire gun, it's not going to be beaten and dry and full of dirt and still work just like the polymer guns will. It's just a different, the tolerances are much, much tighter, but there's always a trade-off for that. So it's not that it's an unreliable gun by any means, and as long as you keep it maintained, you will have no issues with it. But if you try to maintain it like you would a Smith & Wesson, Glock, whatever, you're going to have some stoppages. And that's with any 1911. This is also the 5-inch version, and again, Springfield makes several different versions of the 1911. This is the classic, and it's definitely one I love. There is no smoother, better shooting gun that you can just walk into a gun shop and buy than a decent 1911, and one that is in 9mm. It's almost like shooting a 22. It's kind of weird. One of the unique things for those that have not shot a 1911, which I highly encourage you to do, there's just the way the gun runs when you fire it compared to a polymer gun. The slide, it's almost like you can feel the whole slide move and reset. I know that sounds crazy because it's happening so fast. It almost seems like the gun works in slow motion, and it's just so incredibly accurate. With this Springfield Range Officer, this one in particular, it's again the 5-inch barrel. It is a match grade barrel, okay, and it does have phenomenal tolerances. It's very tight lockup. This is by far, if I were paid money to shoot the most accurate group at any distance, of all the guns I've ever shot and that I own, there would be no, handgun, there would be no question about it. This is the gun. This is the most accurate shooting handgun I've personally ever owned. So something to be said about that. With the 1911 from Springfield here, the range officer, you have adjustable sights in the rear for both windage and elevation. There's screws here on the top and the side to do so. You also have a bright red fiber optic. It does come with the replacement red rod and replacement green rod. I typically prefer green. I just don't care to really pop that one out and put another one in. It's not that big a deal. I mean, if I had my preference, I'd use the green, but not a big enough deal for me to actually do it. If we look at the controls on the range officer here, they're not ambi, they're one side, so your safety lever is on the driver's side, and of course your magazine release. You like that, driver's side? They can be switched though. There is a screw right back here, so you can swap the magazine release from one side to another. Of course, they do make models with a safety lever on both sides, an ambidextrous model, so you can have it for those that are left-handed. It has really nice checkering on the back strap itself. The front strap on the range officer is smooth, which some people like, some people don't like. It's a matter of preference. I kind of prefer that. It doesn't cut my fingers up as much, especially if you're not shooting with gloves. So it does have an adjustable trigger in here. I've never adjusted it. Again, you'll see more B-roll of this as this goes on, but you're going to see that the finish is beat. This gun was not, it was well maintained, don't get me wrong, mechanically, but it was not, this is not a safe queen by any means. This gun was used quite a bit. The grip safety back here is very nice beaver tail. I don't know that I would say it's necessarily extended. It's obviously significantly extended from your standard GI version. You can, of course, just like any 1911, you can always replace these with more, but I found this to be very positive. It disengages really well and a good grip on it. It feels really, really good in the hand. It's a heavy gun. It's a 1911, it's 41 ounces, so no surprise there. It does have the walnut style grips on it, which of course you can change out. Not that big a deal, but it does have some nice detail. It has the cross cannon Springfield logo there, and additional, it has the range officer, so you know it. On the actual slide itself, you've got another Springfield cross cannon. It's getting a little worn there for carrying it in holsters and whatnot. Springfield Armory, and then on the other side, you have the 9mm 1911 A1. Really good serrations on the slide. I've never had issues being able to manipulate it. Not to mention, this thing is like butter. It is so silky smooth. It's something that you're just not used to from, say, your Glocks and Smith & Wessons and SIGs and whatnot. Great guns, but when you're talking about this metal, it's like they're like ball bearings. They're just so silky smooth. It is really incredible. The mag well isn't necessarily super flared, but there is a little bit of a flare on the inner well there, so it does help with magazine reloads. You can also get, there's a bunch of different manufacturers out there, especially when it comes to 1911, on different mag wells that you can add to your gun if you want to. Again, there's nothing proprietary or special. Pretty much all 1911s are universal, kind of like the AR-15, if you will, of handguns. So pretty cool there. Again, good luck with the magazines. Haven't had many issues except for one, and it didn't have any issues feeding or anything. It just the slide didn't lock back on it. I've had perfect success with all of the Wilson Combat magazines, and I highly recommend for a 1911. If the system itself, the 1911 system, does have an Achilles heel, if you will, it's generally not the gun, provided that you're maintaining it properly. It's generally the magazines. Really, really important for the operation of the 1911. The safety lever, by the way, just real quick, very, very positive. The click on and off is very positive. It's not hardware. It's difficult to engage or disengage, but you know audibly and you can tactically feel that it is locking right into place. It's got a nice little skeletonized hammer in the back, and of course your 3-ring kind of not flat face per se, but your standard or more of a standard nowadays trigger for the 1911. So again, let's take a look at the trigger pull. As far as trigger pull is concerned, you're going to have your traditional, just that little micro movement, and then of course a super clean brake. I mean, this is the gold standard for triggers. Even some of your cheaper 1911s, the triggers are still significantly better than some of our best Wonder guns out there. Reset, again, barely move this thing out. There, that's it. And then of course again, brake. So this trigger, again, zero work done to it other than thousands of rounds, but there's no adjustments. It hasn't been worked on by anybody, but that is just an amazing trigger. So let's see what it actually pulls at. We'll get our little Wheeler gauge here from Optics Planet. All right, so we'll get a couple here for you. So our first pull is going to be 2 pounds, 11 ounces. Second pull, 2 pounds, 13 ounces. And 2 pounds, 6.3 ounces. So that's going to give us an average of 2 pounds, 12.5 ounces.
We get the question, what is the perfect gun? And there's not a perfect gun that fits everybody. So we love the 1911. It's one of those guns we bring out and we'll have our friends shoot it and they love it. It's fun to shoot, but I have really small hands, so it's definitely not like something I would carry every day or anything like that. I even have a hard time pressing the mag release. I have a video actually showing some tricks I have to use when I do that with this gun, but it has an amazing trigger. It is a little bit hard to manipulate if you have little tiny hands like me, but it's a great gun overall.
So we're gonna do some shooting today with the Springfield 1911, the range officer. I apologize up front. There's not going to be any multi-camera angles or anything like that. We're not going to move around. It's just me shooting out here. As you guys know, Kim's very pregnant, so she can't be out on the range. So we're going to make the best of this. First thing we'll start out with is what the 1911 is known for, accurate fire. We're going to be testing two things, as I said earlier. One, we're going to be working with the standard Springfield mags, and then also the mec-gar mags. Now, what's nice about these is it turns the 1911 up a little bit, all the way up to 11, if you will. There's 10 in the mag, and then of course we can have one in the round, or one in the chamber. So we could have 11 rounds in there if we chose to. We'll see how those play out. So let's do some shooting. We're going to be 7 yards. Guess you'll have to take my word for it. Locks open, no issues. That's the Springfield mag. Loaded the old mec-gar mag. I'll tell you, it's reciprocation is just so smooth. It's so flat. Amazing, absolutely amazing. In 9mm, it's like a pellet gun. Amazing, like shooting a 22. Again, locks open. No issues with mec-gar. So 7 yards, that's about, just because my finger here is frame of reference, you got about 2.5 inches there, that circle. Got a couple high there, but still a pretty good group at 7 yards. I'll take that. Again, this is shot cold. I don't think you can ask for much more. The gun will definitely outshoot pretty much any shooter behind it. I'm certain that's shooting accurately and incredibly smooth. Is no surprise to the 1911. That's what we expect it to do. Let's push it a little bit as far as reloads. We're going to talk about that the little beveling that we have there in that mag well. See if that helps us. See how it performs with that. Again, we're going to be mixing up the Springfield mags and the mec-gar mags, but really never had issues with those. All right, on that one, my thumb probably hit that release, and as you can see, the slide did not lock open. It does, again, not the fault of the gun. I got big hands, and if it rides that, as we all know on many guns, that will fail to lock back. So, not the gun's fault, mine, as you can see clearly, locks back no issues. Let's do this little concealed carry, if you will. So there you have the mec-gar mag. It looks like that round was a little elevated when it went, or a little, it was nose down. So when it caught the first round, it pushed it up, and it's sitting on the well, the actual casing, the rim I should say, not the well, the rim, preventing it to go forward. So again, that is done with the mec-gar mag. We'll see if that happens again. Just to test that theory, I'm going to run 3 mags this time, 1 Springfield and 2 mec-gar mags. Do 3 reloads and see if we replicate that issue. Yep. So that particular mec-gar magazine, the gun, I'm sure will shoot. But this is not like that mec-gar.
For the money, this is one of the best shooting guns we've ever had. We're not going to get into all the pricing and everything because the prices change all the time and who knows when you're going to watch this. So check your local shops. It's a common gun you can find. If you guys like this video, please give us a thumbs up, like, share, and comment. We love to hear from you guys. If you haven't already, subscribe here on YouTube. Click the bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we put all of our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.